The hardest part of dying isn't the dying. It's lying there counting the years you spent on things that never mattered. I'm 83 years old. I've buried a wife, 2 brothers, a son, and more friends than I can name without my voice catching. And I'm telling you right now, before you click away to the next thing, most of what you're chasing today, you will not remember by the time the snow falls on you. The chase itself is what steals the life. Not the failures, not the losses. The chase. You're sitting there feeling like you're behind on money, behind on what you were supposed to become, behind on the version of yourself you pictured when you were 22. You wake up tired and go to sleep. Tired, and somewhere in between, you scroll because the scrolling makes the ache go quiet for a few minutes. I know that ache. I had a different shape of it, but it's the same animal. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to hand you the thing I wish an old man had handed me when I was 35 and still had time to turn the wagon around. I'm going to tell you what actually fills a life and what only looks like it does. And I'll tell you the one quiet thing I did at 60 that I should have done at 25. My name is Eli Hostetler. I was raised on a dairy farm outside a little place called Mount Hope, where the road bends past a stone bridge and the morning fog sits in the low field till almost 10 o'clock in October. I can still smell the milk house on a cold morning, that sharp, clean tin smell, mixed with the warm breath of the cows. I haven't worked that farm in 40 years, but I can shut my eyes and stand in it. That's the first lesson, and I'll come back to it. The things that stay with you are not the things you think. So let me start where it hurts. You've been told your whole life that if you just work harder, you'll arrive somewhere. There is a somewhere. A house, a number, a title, a body, a feeling, and you've been pushing toward it for years now, and every time you get close, the somewhere moves. I want you to hear me. It was always going to move. That's not a flaw in you. That's the design of the road you're on. The English world, and I don't mean that as an insult, I mean the world built on noise and speed, and selling that world cannot let you arrive. If you arrived, you'd stop spending, stop striving, stop scrolling. So the road is built to keep moving the horizon one more mile. I watched my own nephew leave the plain life at 19. Smart boy, hands like his father. He went out to make something of himself, and he did. Big house in Columbus, 3 vehicles. He came back to visit me 4 years ago, sat at my kitchen table, and cried into his coffee because he could not remember the last time he had felt still, not happy. Just still. He had everything the brochures promised, and he had lost the one thing they never mention. You'll be trading for it. The relief, if you want it, starts here. You are not failing at the race. The race is failing you. But knowing that is only the beginning, because now you have to figure out what to do with your 2 hands and your one short life instead. And that's where most people freeze. So let me tell you the second thing. You think your problem is that you don't have enough. More money, more time, more love, more rest. But your real problem is that you've forgotten how to want small things. When I was a boy, my mother would set out a single jar of strawberry preserves in February, 1 jar, and we 6 children would sit around that table like a king had come to visit. The bread was warm, the butter was from our own churn, and that jar of red, opened in the dead of winter, tasted like the whole summer was sitting on your tongue. I have eaten in restaurants since then where a single plate cost more than my father made in a month, and I have never, not once, tasted anything the way I tasted that preserves on that bread in February of 1949. You have been trained to want a big house, a big trip, a big moment. So now the small things, the cup of coffee on the porch, the sound of your child breathing in the next room, the way the light comes through the kitchen window at 4 p.m, those things slide right past you. They don't register, they don't count, but those are the only things that ever counted. The big moments are the photographs. The small ones are the life. Therefore, the work, if you'll do it, is not to get more. The work is to slow down enough to notice what is already passing through your hands. And I'll be honest with you, that work is harder than any job I ever did because the whole world is built to keep you from doing it. Now, let me say something you may not want to hear. A lot of you are lonely, and you think the cure is to be understood. You're waiting for a person or a group or an audience who will finally see you the way you see yourself. So you talk online, you post, you explain yourself over and over, and the loneliness does not lift. It gets worse. Because every time you explain, you confirm to yourself that you have not yet been seen. I'm going to tell you what I learned about loneliness, and I learned it the long way. My wife Mary died when I was 61. We had been married 38 years. The first 6 months after she went, I could not sit in our kitchen. I would walk the back fence line at dusk just to be moving, because sitting felt like drowning. And one evening in late October, an old neighbor named AMISH came up the lane. He didn't say anything clever. He didn't try to fix me. He sat on the porch step beside me and he peeled an apple with his pocket knife and he handed me half. We ate that apple without speaking, and when it was finished, he stood up and went home. That was the first night I slept more than 2 hours. Hear me. The cure for loneliness is not being understood. The cure is being near to people who will sit with you without needing you to perform, near to a kitchen table where the same faces show up week after week, near to a God who already knows the parts of you can't put into words. You don't need to be explained. You need to be accompanied. And in the world you live in now, accompaniment has been replaced with attention. They are not the same thing. 10,000 people watching you is not the same as one person peeling an apple beside you in the dark. Not even close. But here is the harder truth underneath that one. You cannot be accompanied if you will not be still, and most of you have not been still since you were a child. The phone is in your hand the moment your eyes open. There is a screen on while you eat. There is a voice in your ear while you walk. You have built a life with no silence in it, and then you wonder why you feel like a stranger to your own self. The fourth thing, then, is about silence. And I'll say it plain. You are afraid of silence because silence is where the truth catches up with you. As long as there is noise, you can outrun the questions. What am I doing with my one life? Who have I hurt that I have not made right? What did I want before the world told me what to want? Am I living, or am I just busy? The noise keeps those questions one step behind you. But they never stop walking. They will catch you in the hospital bed. They will catch you the night your child leaves for good. They will catch you at the funeral of the friend you meant to call. And when they catch you, then there is no time left to answer them well. So the kindness you can do for the future you is to let the questions catch you now while you still have years to do something about the answers. Sit on a porch, walk a road without your phone, wash a dish slowly, let the silence speak. It will hurt at first. It hurt me. But on the other side of that hurt is the first honest conversation you've had with yourself in a long, long time. And once you have that conversation, you will know what to cut. Because that's the fifth thing. And it's the one almost nobody will tell you. A good life is not built by adding. A good life is built by subtracting. You keep trying to add a habit, add a course, add a goal, add a relationship, add a side business, add, until your days are so full there is no room left in them for a life. And then you collapse into the bed at night and feel empty, and you cannot understand how a life this full can feel this empty. It feels empty because full and meaningful are not the same thing. A bucket full of stones is full. It is not nourishing. You have filled your bucket with stones because the world handed them to you one at a time and told you each one was important. They were not. Most of them were not. When I turned 60 the year before Mary died, I did one quiet thing. I sat down at the kitchen table with a pencil and a piece of brown paper, and I wrote down everything I did in a week. Every chore, every meeting, every errand, every habit, and then I crossed off everything that, if I died tomorrow, would not matter to anyone I loved. More than half of it went. More than half. I wish, with everything I have left in me, that I had done that exercise at 25 instead of 60. Mary and I would have had 35 more years of unhurried suppers instead of one. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? 35 years. I traded them for things I cannot even remember now. You have that pencil, you have that paper, you have, God willing, more years left than I do. Cross things off. Be brutal. The life underneath all that clutter is the one you've been aching for. And now the last thing, and this is the one I most want you to take with you when you close this video and go back into your day. You keep waiting to feel ready, ready to forgive, ready to start, ready to rest, ready to say the thing to your father, your daughter, your old friend. You think someday a feeling will come over you and lift you up into action. It will not. I waited 11 years to forgive my own brother Jonas for a thing he said the week our father was buried. 11 years. I kept waiting to feel ready. And then one morning in March, when the snow was rotting in the ditches and the maples were just starting to drip, I drove out to his place because my body went before my heart did. I knocked on his door, He opened it. We looked at each other, and I said, Jonas, I'm tired of carrying this. And he started to cry because it turned out he had been carrying it too. We had 6 more years before he died. 6. We could have had 17. You are not going to feel ready. You are going to have to move while you are still afraid, while you are still unsure, while the voice in your head is still telling you to wait 1 more week. The people you love do not have 1 more week guaranteed to them. Neither do you. So here is the whole thing. The thing I would say, if you sat across this table from me and I had 1 cup of coffee's worth of time to give you, stop trying to arrive. There is no arriving. Want smaller things? The small ones are the only ones that stay. Stop explaining yourself and go sit beside someone in the quiet. Let the silence catch you so the truth can speak. Subtract until what is left is the life you actually wanted. And move before you feel ready, because ready is a feeling that comes after the moving, not before. That is 60 years of watching in 1 breath. I cannot give those 60 years back to myself. Mary is in the ground. Jonas is in the ground. The farm at Mount Hope belongs to someone I have never met. The boy I was standing in that milk house in 1949 is gone past any road I can walk back down. But you are still here. You clicked on this video because something in you already knew. Something in you has been trying to tell you for months, maybe year. That voice is the oldest, truest part of you, and it has been waiting, patient as a horse in a pasture, for you to finally turn and listen. Turn and listen. You have not wasted your life. You have only spent some of it on the wrong things, like all of us did, like I did. What is left of it is still yours. And what is left of it, however much that is enough to build something quiet and good and true, if you will, start today, in the next hour, with the smallest possible thing. Pour the coffee slow. Call the person. Sit in the chair without the phone. Cross 1 thing off the list that does not belong there. Say the sentence you have been swallowing. That is how a life turns, not in a thunderclap. In a quiet decision, made on an ordinary Tuesday, by a person who finally got tired of waiting to feel ready. I am an old man on the other side of the choices you are about to make. I am telling you from here that the simple life is not a smaller life. It is the only one that turns out to have been big enough to hold what mattered. If you are the kind of person who has felt for a long time now that something quiet inside you is dying under all the noise, I see you. I was you. And it is not too late. It is only too late when they put you in the ground, and you are not there yet. Before you go, do one thing for me. In the comments, tell me the 1 sentence from this that landed in your chest the hardest. Just the one. I read them, and it helps me know what to share with you next time we sit down together like this. There is more I want to tell you while I still can. I hope you'll be there when I do. And before I let you go back to your evening, I want to give you a few more things to carry with you, because I have learned that grand speeches fade by morning, but small, specific pictures stay. In the autumn of 1962, when I was a boy of 7, my grandfather sat on the back porch of a small wooden house outside Macon, Georgia, shelling pecans into a tin pail. He had been a railroad man for 41 years. His hands were the color of saddle leather, and his knuckles were swollen from a lifetime of cold mornings and heavy couplings. I asked him, in the way children ask the questions adults are afraid to, whether he was sad that he was old. He thought about it for a long time. He cracked 3 more pecans. Then he said, "No, son, I am sad. I did not know sooner that the porch was the point." That was 62 years ago. And I have never gotten that sentence out of my chest. The porch was the point. Not the railroad, not the paycheck, not the promotion to yardmaster he chased for 11 years and finally got in 1949 and barely mentioned again. The porch, the pail, the pecans, the grandson. I did not understand him then. I understood him at 32 faintly when my first daughter was born at 4. 17 inches the morning on a Thursday in March, and I held 7 pounds and 4 ounces of warm weight against my chest and felt the whole frantic ladder I had been climbing go suddenly quiet. I understood him more at 51 when my mother died on a Tuesday in November. And I realized I had spent maybe 900 hours with her in the last 20 years of her life, and I had spent more than that watching television in a single year. I understood him completely at 63, 2 winters ago when I sat on my own back porch in a wicker chair my wife bought at a yard sale for $11 in 1994, and I watched a cardinal land on the railing and stay for perhaps 4 seconds, and I felt, for the first time in my life, that I was not missing anything. 4 seconds. That was the whole gift. A red bird on a gray railing on a cold morning, and a man old enough to finally see it. I tell you this because the culture you live inside will spend roughly 9 hours of your waking day, according to the most recent Nielsen reports, trying to convince you that the porch is not the point, that the bird is not the point, that the point is somewhere else, in some other zip code, behind some other paywall, available only to people who hustle harder than you currently are. It is a lie. It has always been a lie. It was a lie in 1962 when my grandfather figured it out, and it is a lie now, dressed in better clothes and faster delivery. The porch is the point. Go sit on yours.